Let's talk about the recruitment and selection of sales force. In general sense, recruitment is a very big process, and let's understand in sales force terms. Recruitment is the process of finding and hiring a candidate for a specific job role, right? It starts from identifying, attracting and screening, shortlisting, interviewing, selecting and finally hiring. It is all about placing right person into right place in right job. So, it gives the organizations to fill the positions with the candidates, appropriate candidates, right. Now, talking about the recruitment into the sales force, depending on the size of sales force and kind of selling involvement, the managers, first level sales managers often take this as an recruitment process, right. Now, Salesforce is one such job wherein they have to talk about, there is no much of requirement of the qualifications here, and then jobs are of lot of turnover here. We see lot of attrition rate here. Attrition in sense the percentage of employees, those who are leaving the organization in a very less time, right. So, the Salesforce job is such a way, it plays a very crucial role for the organization, but it is really hard to keep up with the employees on an overall basis, right. Now, let us understand the importance of Salesforce recruitment, why there should be a Salesforce recruitment in an organization, right. Salesforce people stand for the corporate image, right. The Salesforce people are the first hand or the direct contactors to the customers. It is not wrong to say that they are the eyes and ears of the organization, that they hear the needs and desires of the customers, as well as they can see and physically meet the customers and understand their needs. So, they are really very important for any organization. Salesforce people are related to the survival and development of the organization. Whatsoever departments they are, whatsoever organizations are doing, but then at the end of the day, the bottom line is all about reaching the clients, right. Customer needs and desires should be fulfilled, right. The recruitment process ensures the high quality sales force. Now, it is really important to have the skillful employees, skillful sales force, so as to get the organization the next level things and to retain the existing customers. Next. Now, there is the process or the steps followed when there is a topic of Salesforce recruitment process. Now, talking about these steps, we have first step to conduct a job analysis. What is job analysis? Right? The job analysis is about what activities, tasks or responsibilities and environmental influences are involved, what type of job it is, what type of people are required, what type of skills are required, all that will be analyzed in this process, in this step, which is job analysis. Second step is prepare a job description. Right. Now, whatsoever job we see, when you see the newspaper ads or when you see the organization's requirement for the job, they give the detailed job description which talks about what type of job it is, what is involved, what type of skills are required and what is the commitment required from the customers or the employees, right. The next step we will talk about identify sales job qualification. Now, what qualification is required for these employees to be taken so as to get into Salesforce? What are the different qualifications? Now, develop a statement of job qualifications describing the personal traits and the abilities needed to perform this job, what type of different skills which are required. Now, when you are talking about Salesforce, right. So, it is really important to have that convincing skills, that negotiation skills. You should be able to approach the every customer to make them the customers for a long time. You should retain the customers for a long time. So, it is like a skill, it is an art in itself, right. Now, next, when you are talking about next step is attract a pool of sales recruits. Right. Now, organization should continuously attract the salespersons, right. It is constant loop, guys. There should be able to, It is not a one time process, it's a loop process. It is continuously going through. Like organizations looks for Salesforce, as much as they have the Salesforce population in their organization, that is the amount of reach to the customers, right? They should start with a large pool of applicants. They should have enough number of, more than enough number of applicants for more options. If they are looking for, if the organization is looking for a very small group of applicants, they might not end up with the good quality sales force. Right. Now, the last step in the recruitment process is select a best recruiters. After all this, when the job analysis is done, right, we are describing about the activities, responsibilities, etc. in a very clear picture. Then you are talking about what type of job they will do, in what environment they have to do is the job description. Then they are talking about identifying the qualification. There should be a skilled person sitting in the position, guys. It is all about right person to the right job. Right. So, next, when they have loop of the pool of employees being together, then it is easy for them to recruit the qualified people. So, it is easy for the selection process as well. Now, there are different types of recruitment, guys, different methods of recruitments which takes place. Now, successful firms depend upon the well planned and effectively implemented recruitment efforts. To identify prospective candidates, firms use internal and external sources. There are two methods in which recruitments are done, right? Internal sources as well as the external sources. Now, internal sources is about the employees are taken from the within the organization, from different department, from the other departments. Now, inside recruitments are also called IJPs, which are internal job portals, where organization people, all the employees of the organization can switch from one project to another. If they depend on if they are from one department and they want to exchange the department, right? If one is working in the HR and wanted to come to sales, right, there is a provision in the organization, especially in corporate or MNCs, there is a provision of IJP, that is internal job portals. They can apply within the organization and change their projects, right. Now, they have pros and cons, right? Everything comes in a package, guys. So, it is pros and cons. Once you are understanding this, inside recruitment advantages are recruiters from inside require less orientation and training due to the familiarity with the current products, policies and operations. When the recruitment is done within the organization, we don't have to stress on the extra trainings or extra cost and effort which should be paid to it. They are already aware of what type of products organization is launching. They are aware of the policies of the organization. They don't require the very new training sessions, etc. They have to be given a picture of what Salesforce actually does. Right, they have to be trained on the particular job, not on the entire training program is required. Very less time it will be taking, less time will be taken by the organization, so as to work on this, to train those internal employees. So, it is easy for the organization to have the recruitment inside the organization. Recruiting within the bolsters company morale, because employees see opportunities for the advancement. There is a betterment always for the advancement. Organizations also, the employees also look forward to change and develop themselves to get into advancement, betterment, increasing or career planning. It is really very. Let's talk about the external sources. External sources is about when people are being recruited from outside the organizations, using people in other firms, right? They get attracted for the sales or the salary negotiations, etc. Next, the employment from the educational institutions, especially in the freshers, guys. Freshers are very much important for the sales force management, because they come up with a new ideology, new technologies, new ideology of how to promote the products of the organization. So, organizations, firms make a very key note when there are placements going on in the educational institutions. So, people come from there. Next is attracted through the advertisements. When people want to switch the jobs, they want to advance in the career, they want to grow, right. So, next is employment agencies. We might all have heard about the consultancies, right, job consultancies which we see. They can hire from those employment agencies as well. Recruiting issues facing sales managers grow exponentially as companies expand globally and seek salespeople in new international markets. It's always a requirement, guys, a continuous loop. There is no recession or there is no stop point anywhere. It is always a continuous process of recruiting salespeople and turnover rates of the recruiters, and then they have to work continuously in recruiting the sales force people. Right, now let's talk about selection process, how selection process goes on. Right, selection is a negative process of weeding out misfits from the eligible candidates being encouraged by the recruitment. Once the recruitment process is done, they put into all the loop, all the pool, a big group of people are being recruited from that. Now the negative aspects comes, we remove the unfits, we remove the misfits from that, we choose the correct person, we choose or we select the right person for that job from that pool of recruiters. Now what is the importance of selection is qualified salespeople are scarce. Salespeople or sales force is one type of job where there is a lot of scarce of the qualified people in it. So it is really important for the selection process, in the selection process, that they work on qualified salespeople for the betterment of the organization. Next, good selection improves sales force performance. If there is a good selection process, guys, if the right person is chosen for the right job, then obvious there will be a improvement in the sales force performance, in addition to the moving towards the objective of the organization. Next comes promotes cost savings. Once the right person is taken in, guys, it's easy for them to last long in the organization and create profits or come up with a new ideology. So it is cost savings for the organization as well, unless taking down the recruiters, selecting them and doing it again and again will get them lost of cost losses. So what they do, if they select the right person, it is easy for the organizations also to save the cost on the selection process. Next comes reduces the attrition rate. It's reducing attrition rate is really high when compared to any other department. Sales department sees a lot of attrition rate. Right, attrition is all about employees leaving the organization in a very short time. Right, there might be a number of factors for leaving the organization, dissatisfaction of the job or growth or salaries, anything. Right, no stability in the job, etc. So lot of attrition rate is being seen in the sales force job, so that can be reduced when selection process is. Now let's talk about sales force selection process, how the process goes on while selecting a candidate. There are a number of steps, guys, we'll see each one of it. First thing is initial screening. Right, initial screening may start with an application form or a resume, a screening interview or a type of test. Most of the organization take an aptitude test, skill test, or they talk about a personal interview to them and screen them. Initial screening, so as to get through that round. Second is references and background check. Right, there are a lot of fraud cases, guys. Fraud resumes are being taken and fraud employees are being taken. So as to avoid all this mess, so organizations do the background check, they do the reference check also. There are a number of employees who refer the other people, so these references can also be considered. Third step is personal interviews. Now personal interviews are widely used selection tool. Purpose is to decide candidates' fitness for the job. Is they right person or not? So these type of interviews are being taken. Now there are different types of interviews also. Right, let's see them. First one is structured interview. Structured interview is all about structured questions. Right, predetermined questions are taken into a paper and then they are being questioned, like what type of job they want or what are they looking into, what is their personal detail or their experiences, etc. They set same questions which are being asked by the interviewer to all the selected recruited employees. Right, second interview is unstructured, wherein you take up the questions according to the circumstances or according to the candidate. Right, third one is semi structured interview. right, wherein few questions are predetermined and few questions interviewer will take as an opportunity to ask when they see the candidate. According to the candidate situations, according to the circumstances or the answers by the candidates, the questions will be altered, right. Next is behavior and performance based interviews. There are a lot of employees, those who don't match with the behavior and the performance, right. So these type of tests, these type of interviews where they can evaluate the candidate on basis of behavior as well as their performances. Next is stress interview, right. It's really crucial to talk about stress in nowadays world, especially in Salesforce. It's really stressful to convince people to buy something which has all the alternatives possible in the market, right. So stress interview, what level of stress an candidate can take, that is one type of test that can be done. So these are different types of interviews that will be taken to select the employee. Next is the employment testing, right. Many firms use testing tool to ensure the candidates have the traits that lead to success in sales job. There are n number of tests they have to undergo, the candidate, right. The first type of test is aptitude test, very commonly used by most of the organizations, especially corporate organizations, to see their ability, right, ability skills, analytical skills, lot of skills that can be analyzed using aptitude test. This is the first test in all the organizations, irrelevant of what type of job you are going for, aptitude test is first. Second is intelligence test. Intelligence, there are n number of situations which are given, they should be able to handle this situation properly, what type of decisions they are taking, what type of initiations they are taking, that can be grabbed, that is intelligence test. Next is interest test, right. What type of interest a candidate possesses, are they really fit into it, are they really interested to work on these platforms, or what are they up to, what will be their output. To understand this also, there is an interest test. Next is knowledge test, right. How much depth of knowledge an candidate has, the market knowledge, what to be sold, what can be sold right now, what is the market all about, how they are able to work on the products which can be sold in a very short time, what is the trend right now, what different age groups require, what are the understandings of different age groups, what old people require right now, what is the youth understanding towards the market, right, what type of products nowadays youth requires, etc. All this can be done, what type of knowledge the employee possesses, that is knowledge test. Next is personality test, how they behave. Now sales job or Salesforce job is one such patience required job, guys. Now aggressive people or those who are with a very less patience might not work or might not be the right fit for this job, so they requires a lot of different personality, and they should be able to evolve properly over a period of time, over the experience this comes. So personality test is one such way. Now again, considering all these tests, there are different reliability and validity. The test whatsoever is being applied in the interview should be reliable, right. That should have the right questions where all the candidates should be able to answer. It should not be too very easy that everyone can pass through, it should not be too very tough where no one can answer. There should be a reliable one and valid. There should be towards the market, nowadays market, how it is working, the validity should be there. It should not be too much into past, not too much into the future. It should be valid for now and long lasting, right. Next step is follow-up interviews. Now follow-up and interview follow-up calls occur when a job candidate reaches out to a potential employer to ask about the status of their application after an interview, right. Interviewers often provide the candidate within a window of time for when they can expect hear back about their application, right. They wait for the follow-up calls, they take time, the HR people, the interviewer takes time to segregate or to do the selection. So they follow up saying we will hear you back in so and so time and you can wait for our answers. Next is selection. In the hiring stage, there are two activities which are performed. The first is company making the job offer, right? Offer letters are being given to the candidates to understand them better, give them the criteria that these are the rules, these are the date and time of you being joining the organization. And second is persuading the applicant to accept it, right? These days it's more often the online one, the mail, sending the mail, acknowledgement mail that they accept the offer or not, right? So as to confirm the vacancy is filled, right? Now these are all the selection process, right from screening, initial screening, references checking, in-depth interviews, employee testing, follow-up interviews, and making the selection of right person to the right job. Talking about socialization process. Once the candidate has been selected, once the selection process is done, new salesperson should be integrated into the sales force. They should be added into the organization culture. They should be given the experience or the understanding of how the organization works, how the firm's culture is, how the employees actually work, and they should be aware of what type of processes they go through and what type of products the organization is launching. Right now, it is a process through which a new salesperson learns values, norms, attitudes, and behaviors of the employees in the firm. It's really important to always show them that this is what the culture in the organization is. These are the rule book what we follow, right? These are the policies which should be adhered by every employee those are joining. So they have to meet the environment, the atmosphere, so as to feel wanted, and they have to feel enthusiastic to work on, right? Now, talking about the poor recruitment and selection things, when the organization is not right when talking about recruitment and selection process, if they are not following the right rules, right, they have to talk on inadequate sales coverage and lack of customer follow-up. If the selection and recruitment process fails, if they are not taking the right decisions at right time, then the organizations have to see the downfall for sure, right? Second, increased training cost to the overcome deficiency. So as to do this, if the recruitment and selection process is wrong, obvious they have to see the deficiency, they have to fulfill those deficiencies, and this will lead to the high cost to them. It's really expensive to fulfill the vacancies for any organization. Third, more supervisory problems, right? Once they more supervisory problems. It should be really important for a supervisor to take care of new joinees or new employees, so it's easy for them to relate. Next is high turnover rates, right? If the recruitment and selection process is wrong, if they have not taken a right person into right place, then the turnover rates will be high, the attrition rates will be high. People join the organization and leave within no time. Again, the organization should go through the recruitment and selection process, which will lead to lot of cost. It requires lot of time, money, and effort, which is of waste. Next, difficulty in establishing enduring relationship with customers. If there is a huge turnover rate, people might not believe in the organization, they might lose the interest towards it, as there is a vast market and there is an alternative for every product in the market. So it's easy for a customer to switch, right? Next, talking about the differences between recruitment and selection. Let's understand this. Right? The meaning of recruitment is the process of stimulating people to apply for the vacant job positions in the organization. When you talk about the meaning of selection, it is a process of selecting the best candidate from those who have applied the job. Right? Now, what is the objective of recruitment? The objective of recruitment is to create a pool of eligible candidates for the purpose of selection, and the objective of selection is to get the best candidate selected for the job. Next is nature of recruitment. It is a positive process and it attracts lot of people to apply for the jobs. And when you're talking about the nature of selection, it is a negative process as it involves lot of rejection of candidates at every stage of the interview. the sequence, the recruitment takes place before the selection. Recruitment followed by selection. This is the sequence. Now, talking about recruitments and selections, we understood the nature and the meaning of it. Let's understand with few examples. Lot of organizations these days, irrelevant of what job position it is, they are supposed to recruit and select the right person in right place. They have to put the job vacancies filled. Right. Now, most of the consultancies, job consultancies are also playing a very wide role in it, wherein they play as a third party one. Lot of corporate organizations are taking this into consideration. They are not wasting lot of time, or they wanted to give it to the other one as a third party contract. They don't want to put it into the organization and waste the time, like especially like Google. Google doesn't do the recruitment and selection process at all. They give it as a third party. They give it the selection process to the third party, where all other organizations like Genpact, right, and the other consultancies take care of the recruitment and selection process of Google organization, wherein the selection recruitment process is done. The organization gets rid of this process or continuous loop process of getting the right person. Now, many other organizations, especially product based organizations or service based organizations, work in this level. They wanted to recruit people, right people, those who can last long with the organization. However, it works on the experience. As much as experience the salesperson has, that will be the added advantage for the organization. The experienced salesman keep up a great relationship with the customers as well as the organization. They can attract the new customers as well as keep the understanding to retain the older customers with them. It's really hard to retain the older customers, especially nowadays market, where market is really wide and we have alternative products available. For every product we have an alternative. Like if you're talking about tea, there is an alternative of coffee. When you're talking about Coke, you talk about Pepsi also. So there are n number of availability in the market. So it is really hard to stick to one product, and making customers to retain the product is a really challenging job, right? So Salesforce recruitment selection plays a very key role for any organization to work, right? So this is a key point, wherein to select a right Salesforce is to make a direct contact, good direct relationship with the customers.